Chosen one. I need you to pause everything for just a moment and lean into this with your full spirit. This Tuesday is not random. It is not ordinary. It is not just a checkpoint in your week. It is the doorway to destiny. This isn't just a message for anyone. It's for you, the one who's been quietly enduring, patiently preparing, and faithfully believing, even when there was no visible sign. Heaven has marked this Tuesday as your divine turning point. Something irreversible is shifting. A divine page is turning in your favor. This isn't routine. This is revelation. And when destiny calls, chosen one, you don't delay. You rise. Everything that felt stuck is about to move. Everything you lost is about to return in a higher form. And everything that once resisted you is about to recognize the authority on your life. Can you feel it? The divine reset. The invisible hand of God realigning the timeline on your behalf. This Tuesday, you're not just walking into a new day, you are walking into your spiritual inheritance. Before we go deeper, I want to take a moment to say this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to every single person who has supported this space through a super thanks. Your generosity is felt and never taken for granted. You are sowing into something sacred, and your seed will not go unnoticed by the divine. But whether you give or not, please know your presence here is a gift. The fact that you show up, listen, and align your spirit with these words already tells heaven you are serious about your calling. I'm grateful for you, truly. Now, I want you to declare something bold in the comments right now, not just for yourself, but for every chosen one around the world waiting on a sign. Type 999, the number of completion, of cycles ending, of divine closure, making room for new beginnings. And while you're at it, speak a blessing, write a declaration, share your intention, because when chosen ones speak with faith, the universe doesn't just listen, it moves. Let this not just be a video you watch. Let it be a shift you feel. Stay until the very end, because what's about to be spoken is not just inspiration, it is activation. And if your spirit is ready, then let's step into Tuesday like it's already done. God's chosen ones. This Tuesday, God starts you over. Chosen one. You didn't survive all of that pain, confusion, delay, and silence for no reason. Let's make one thing absolutely clear from the start. What you're stepping into this Tuesday is not something that's been handed to you casually, like a free gift without weight. No, this new beginning is sacred. It's heavy with purpose. It has cost you more than anyone knows. Only heaven and your soul know the full price you paid to arrive here. Why do you think it didn't happen earlier? Why do you think the breakthrough was delayed until now? Because you weren't just waiting, you were becoming. You were being stripped, shaped, tested in rooms no one saw. You fought battles not just in the physical realm, but in the unseen. You cried tears into your pillow while speaking strength in public. You gave encouraging words while you yourself felt empty. You wrestled with the silence of God and the loudness of your doubts. You held on when everything told you to let go. Some of your deepest spiritual work happened in private, when no one was applauding you. There were moments you had to process grief without even having the language for it. You suffered losses that left scars invisible to the world. You detoured into spaces that made you wonder if you missed God. If maybe you had misheard the calling. If maybe you weren't chosen after all. But somehow, something in you refused to bow out. Something deeper than your understanding, that divine spark inside stood up when your flesh collapsed. That spark is your calling. That's your anointing. That's the part of you that heaven refused to let die. No matter how much you were crushed, that's what sustained you, and that's what God is about to reward. This Tuesday, the heavens are aligning with your spirit. This is no longer a season of waiting. It's the moment when prophecy becomes reality. Can you feel the urgency in your bones? It's not just another week. It's a spiritual shift disguised as a calendar day. God has circled it in the unseen realm and said, now, not later, not maybe, now. This is when the future becomes present. The thing you prayed for, even when you didn't feel worthy of it, is no longer a distant hope. It's here. And it's not just the start of a new chapter in your life. God is tearing out the entire book that was written in survival mode, the chapters of heartbreak, betrayal, self-doubt, addiction to approval, spiritual exhaustion, and handing you a brand new scroll. The old story ends here. Do you believe that? The trauma won't define your next decisions. The patterns that used to trap you won't follow you into this new space. You're not entering it by luck. You're not just stumbling forward. This has been divinely orchestrated, step by step. Even when you felt completely lost, you've been aligned with a higher plan all along. Every yes you whispered in the darkness when you had no proof, no praise, and no support, heaven recorded. And now heaven is responding. What if I told you that all of those hard yeses were building your arrival moment? What if your tears were currency in the spirit? What if your obedience, when it was painful, lonely, and thankless, became the very soil that is now producing your harvest? Hebrews 10:23 says, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." You didn't waver, even when you trembled. And now, God is faithful to fulfill. You've already started feeling it, haven't you? That strange sense of peace in places that used to stress you out, that internal stillness, even when chaos swirled around you. Those quiet moments of supernatural clarity when the fog lifted for just long enough to help you breathe again. Those weren't coincidences. They were signals, markers, evidence that the shift was already underway. God has been whispering through the stillness, "Hold on, you're closer than you think. Aim." And now, everything that pressed against you is about to become the fuel that launches you. Isn't it funny how what once felt like resistance now feels like momentum? Every delay has revealed itself as divine timing. Every door that slammed in your face was just heaven's way of pointing you to a better one. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." You are that one. You've been called, and now it's working, all of it, for your good. Let's talk about real-life confirmation. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Before she became a global voice of wisdom, she endured poverty, abuse, and rejection. At one point, she was told she was unfit for television. But God had a Tuesday for her, a divine reset. And when it came, everything shifted. Or take Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison. That was his detour. But that delay prepared him to lead a nation. What about J.K. Rowling? Her manuscript was rejected 12 times. She was on welfare. But she didn't give up, and her story, Harry Potter, became a global phenomenon. Your delay isn't a denial. It's divine training. And maybe you've been like Tyler Perry, who was once homeless, living out of his car. Nobody knew he was writing stage plays and believing in something more. Nobody knew that one day God would open doors for him to own the largest film studio in America. These stories aren't just meant to inspire you, they're meant to remind you, if God did it for them, He'll do it for you. Isaías 43:19 declares, Behold, I will do a new thing, now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? The answer is yes, you will know it, because it's happening now. But here's the deeper question, are you truly ready to walk into it? Because this new beginning doesn't look like comfort, it looks like clarity. It looks like you being seen, truly seen for the first time without shrinking. It looks like peace replacing panic. It looks like boundaries protecting your blessing. It looks like God restoring the years the locusts have eaten, just like Joel 2:25 promises. I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. The years you thought were wasted, God was watching. He's been keeping receipts, and now He's ready to pay back in full. You are not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience, from power, from wisdom gained in fire. And isn't that what made Moses ready to lead? He wasn't chosen while in Pharaoh's palace. He was chosen after the wilderness, after the exile, after the silence, just like you. And when God called him from the burning bush, it wasn't just a call to lead. It was a call to begin again. Just like this Tuesday is for you. Now pause and ask yourself, what if everything you've gone through wasn't to break you, but to build your foundation? What if your quiet moments were louder in heaven than you thought? What if the angels were taking notes every time you prayed instead of cursing your situation? 2 Corinthians 4:17 says, For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. That glory is unfolding now. That eternal reward is being delivered to your earthly doorstep. This is the Tuesday where things no longer look like loss. This is when what looked like failure is revealed as favor, and what felt like punishment turns out to be protection. Your spiritual assignment is no longer waiting for approval. It's in motion. And guess what? No one can stop what heaven has started. Not your past, not their opinion, not even your own doubt. And for some of you, this new beginning is going to shock people because they remember who you were, but they have no idea who you've become. You've evolved quietly, grown privately, and now the unveiling is going to feel like a resurrection. Think of someone like Viola Davis. She went from growing up in poverty, bullied for how she looked, to becoming an EGOT-winning actress, not by pretending to be someone else, but by embracing who she truly was. You're not stepping into a new version. You're stepping into your true self, the one God always saw, even when others didn't. So, chosen one, are you listening? Or are you still trying to understand this new season through the lens of your old pain? Because if you keep expecting delay, you'll miss the door. If you keep anticipating disappointment, you'll block the blessing. This Tuesday is not about proving yourself. It's about receiving what's already been approved by heaven. Will you let yourself live like you've already been redeemed? Will you stop rehearsing the old pain and start rejoicing in the new peace? Revelation 21:5 says, Behold, I am making all things new. That includes you. That includes your path. That includes the opportunities coming that you didn't ask for, but are designed just for you. Don't miss the moment. This is not just another day. It's a divine turning point. It's heaven's yes to your hidden faithfulness. It's a holy reintroduction to the world. Walk in it boldly. Walk in it with gratitude. Because what begins this Tuesday will never end the same way again. Chosen one, let me speak something deep into your spirit right now. Something not loud, but life-changing. You may be expecting this new beginning to arrive with noise, confetti, applause, or some kind of outward display of power. But hear this, Not every divine reset comes with lightning. Some come with a stillness so holy it silences the noise in your own soul. Some come like peace after years of surviving spiritual earthquakes. Some come with the quiet inhale of a soul that hasn't truly breathed in what feels like decades. And that's exactly where you are now. Do you feel it? That subtle but undeniable shift inside you? That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. This Tuesday may look ordinary on the surface, but in the spirit, something seismic is occurring. A new spiritual law is going into effect concerning your life. Something heavy is being lifted off of you. Pain, shame, regret, trauma, pressure, exhaustion, even grief you forgot you were carrying. Something that once seemed like it would define your forever is being rewritten right now with healing, with hope, with heaven's hand. Why is this happening now? Why the stillness instead of a spectacle? Because you, chosen one, are no longer in survival mode. You're not begging for breakthrough anymore, you are the breakthrough. That's the energy you're walking in now. And while the world may not notice the subtle shift, the spirit realm does. That's why you feel so magnetic lately. You may not even be doing anything different, but somehow, people are noticing. People who never paid attention before are suddenly drawn to your presence, and they don't even know why. But you know, it's not because you changed your look, it's because your frequency shifted. You're vibrating with alignment, and alignment is magnetic. People feel the weight of your calling, even if they can't articulate it. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed people staring at you lately, watching your stories, lurking, but not speaking? Don't be fooled by their silence. Just because they aren't saying anything doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, more is happening in silence than you realize. In the spirit realm, your name is being whispered in rooms you've never entered. Your face is being shown to people who are assigned to bless you. The angels are arranging meetings, contracts, alignments, and your spirit has already arrived, even if your feet haven't. Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." That is literally what's happening. The table that once excluded you is now being custom built for you, in front of everyone who thought you didn't belong. Let's make this real. Think about Chadwick Boseman. Before the world knew him as Black Panther, he was living on faith. Denzel Washington secretly paid for his acting tuition, and years later, Boseman would publicly thank him. Behind the scenes, heaven was already orchestrating connections before he ever arrived in the room. That's the kind of setup happening for you now. Or look at Misty Copeland, a ballerina who was overlooked, told she didn't have the right body, the right background, but she kept dancing in silence. And now, she's the first African-American female principal dancer in the American Ballet Theatre. Do you think that's coincidence? No. That's God using what was overlooked and turning it into overcompensation, just like He's doing for you. Something supernatural is in motion. What once felt denied is now divinely scheduled. That opportunity you thought passed you by, it didn't. It was simply rerouted to arrive in perfect timing, and now, every delay is being redeemed. Ecclesiastes 3. Uno rimainsus. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This is your time, not just to heal, but to rise, not just to be seen, but to be seated, not just to survive, but to walk in supernatural favor. And don't be surprised if some people who used to ignore you suddenly try to reattach themselves. Why? Because your spirit has changed. Your glow isn't just aesthetic, it's prophetic. They feel it, They don't have the vocabulary for it. But they feel heaven leaning in your direction. Think of someone like Steve Harvey. He spent years living in his car. People didn't see his anointing, they saw his struggle. But God did, and when the time came, the doors that once rejected him became stages for him to declare his faith. Do you feel like you've been living in a space of almost for too long? That every time you got close, something slipped through your fingers? That was training. That was God allowing you to be hidden so your roots could grow deep. Because when it's time to rise, truly rise, God doesn't want shallow success. He wants sustainable elevation. That's why He's been pruning you privately. That's why certain people had to exit without closure. That's why some relationships couldn't go with you. That's why you were forced into solitude, not because you were abandoned, but because you were being anointed. Isaiah 60:22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." This Tuesday is heaven declaring, the time is right. Let me ask you something personal. What if all the silence around you lately has actually been God's loudest preparation? What if that lack of feedback, those unanswered texts, that quietness, what if it's not rejection but refinement? What if your spirit was becoming too loud for the wrong rooms? So God pulled you out to prepare a platform you didn't even ask for. Look at someone like Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks. He was rejected by over 200 investors before he finally got one. Yes, today, he's built a global empire. That one yes changed everything. For you, too. The right yes is on its way. And when it comes, it will explain every no you had to endure. You need to understand something. The realm of the spirit is always ahead of the natural. That's why you feel out of place in environments that used to feel familiar. It's not you being difficult. It's you outgrowing their vibration. Your spirit is being upgraded. That's why the old conversations don't excite you. That's why the same distractions don't work anymore. That's why your soul is asking deeper questions now. Why am I still here? What am I really made for? Why do I feel like something bigger is calling me? That's not confusion. That's the echo of destiny. Chosen one. What you carry can no longer be hidden. You were faithful with little now. You're being made ruler over much. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." You didn't just endure, you were trustworthy. And heaven rewards trust. This is not just your moment of recognition, it's your moment of recompense. Even your presence is prophetic now. You walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. You say a word, and people pause, not because you're loud, but because your soul carries truth. That's the power of alignment. That's what Joseph carried when he was pulled out of the prison and placed before Pharaoh. Overnight elevation, divine timing, strategic placement. That same anointing is on you now. And the seat you were once denied, it has your name engraved into it. So let me ask you again, are you ready to be seen? Truly seen, not through the lens of your past, but through the lens of God's promise? Can you walk into spaces with the confidence that you belong, not because of who you know, but because of who sent you? Because the invitations you thought would never come, they're already on the way. You won't have to beg for them. They're drawn to your light. And your name is already being spoken by people with the power to open doors. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." This isn't just a plan, it's a divine strategy. It's not random, it's redemption. You're not being placed in the room as a guest. You are the atmosphere. You carry the frequency of heaven, and people are finally tuning in. This Tuesday, chosen one. Don't merely rise as if it's any other day. Rise with a prophetic knowing that the atmosphere around your life has already shifted. Begin the day not by checking your phone, but by checking your spirit. Begin not in rush, but in reverence. Speak out loud with boldness and conviction. Even if your emotions haven't caught up yet, say, "Something sacred has shifted for me. This is my turning point." Because your words are not just sounds, they are seeds, and every seed you plant in faith carries within it a future harvest. Even when your eyes can't see it yet, your words will go before you to prepare the ground. The spiritual realm doesn't wait on feelings, it responds to faith. This new beginning isn't built on what you feel, it's built on what you know to be true. And what you know is this: you've already passed the tests, you've cried the private tears, you've endured the hidden trials, you've stood firm in rooms where you were misunderstood, misread, and misjudged. You've done the inner work when no one was clapping. Now it's not about striving anymore, it's about surrender. You no longer have to hustle for your worth. You don't need to audition for spaces you were born to occupy. You don't need to chase people, platforms, or validation. You don't need to beg for what God has already written with your name on it. You don't even need to prove yourself, because your journey already has. You've already been approved by the only one whose approval matters. That's why now, instead of pushing, all you need to do is align and allow. Align your spirit with what heaven is doing. Allow the blessings, the clarity, the support, the opportunities, and the joy to come in without apology or self-sabotage. You've labored for years. This is your season of receiving. Hebrews 11:1 tells us, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." That faith has substance, and today it starts to materialize. And with this divine beginning comes something you've prayed for more than once: clarity. For too long, your journey has felt like walking through fog. You've lived in a strange in-between space, where your spirit sensed change, but your environment didn't reflect it, where your intuition screamed one thing, but logic said another, where you felt a pull, but no clear path. That ends now. This Tuesday marks the slow but certain lifting of the fog. The veil is being pulled back. The clutter is being cleared. What was once confusing will start making sense with sharp, divine precision. You won't have to force answers anymore. They will arrive effortlessly, like puzzle pieces finally falling into place. Have you been second-guessing the people around you, wondering if they're truly for you? You won't have to wonder anymore. Without confrontation, without chaos, without drama, God is going to let their true colors reveal themselves. That's how grace works. It doesn't need to shout to be powerful. It simply exposes in love what you need to know, and you'll be able to respond not from hurt, but from wisdom. You'll stop asking, "Why did they change?" and start realizing, "No, they didn't change. I just finally see clearly." That is the mercy of spiritual maturity. John 16:13 says, "But when He, the Spirit of truth, comes, He will guide you into all truth." That truth is already guiding you now gently, unmistakably. And what about the paths you once feared to take? The ones that felt too risky, too uncertain, too unfamiliar? Suddenly, they'll begin to glow with divine assurance. You'll feel peace on a certain choice. Even if it doesn't look logical to the world, you'll feel God nudging you to step out, not with panic, but with quiet boldness. That's how you'll know it's Him it won't be loud. It will be clear. When it's your time, you don't need confirmation from people. Heaven will confirm it through peace, through favor, through signs you didn't even know you needed. And guess what? That time is now. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where everything suddenly clicked, where it felt like you weren't just making decisions, but being led? That's the clarity divine timing brings. It doesn't come from planning. It comes from presence, from obedience, from preparation meeting God's perfect window. That's why now, you won't need to explain yourself anymore. You won't need to make long speeches to justify your choices, because when heaven stamps your season approved, even your silence speaks. Isaiah 55:11 says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." What God spoke over you will not return void. Think of Ava DuVernay. She didn't pick up a camera until her 30s. She had no formal film training, but when her time came, no man, no system, no lack of traditional credentials could stop what heaven had scheduled. Or take Vera Wang before she became one of the most iconic wedding dress designers in the world. She was a figure skater and then a journalist. She didn't start designing until she was 40, and yet her late start didn't matter, because when it's your time, it's your time. There is no expiration on divine purpose. This Tuesday, walk like someone whose steps have already been ordered. Let your body posture reflect your soul's knowing. You are not waiting to be chosen anymore. You were chosen. Now you're just stepping into the room you were always meant to occupy. And some rooms, chosen one, you won't even have to enter. Your name has arrived there before you. Your reputation not in the world's eyes, but in heaven's record has gone before you. Angels have prepared the path. Provision is already traveling toward you. The emails are coming. The calls are being scheduled. The breakthroughs are looking for you. You're not chasing what you need. What you need is looking for the version of you who is finally aligned. And here's what you'll notice next. Resistance won't feel the same anymore. What used to derail you will barely disturb you. What once triggered panic will now provoke purpose. The manipulation that used to work on you won't even touch you. That's because you've outgrown the snares. You've developed spiritual muscle. You don't move from wounds anymore. You move from wisdom. That's clarity. That's elevation. That's power. Even your perception of time will change. You'll stop racing against it. You'll begin to recognize that when God blesses something, He also blesses the timing of it. What once took years will now happen in months. What once required striving will now come through surrender. You are living proof that spiritual maturity isn't about age, it's about obedience. Psalm 31:15 says, "My times are in your hand. Your time is no longer on hold. It's being honored." Think of Viola Davis. Before she became the first African American to win the Triple Crown of acting, she was struggling with poverty, rejection, and limited roles. But the moment of clarity came, and her purpose met her preparation. What happened? The world took notice. That's what this Tuesday is going to feel like for you. Quiet build-up, loud arrival, and chosen one. Let me leave you with one question. What would change in your life if you fully believed that this time you don't have to earn it, only embrace it? What doors would you walk through? What conversations would you say yes to? What excuses would you let go of? You've reached the point where heaven is not waiting on you to prove anything. Heaven is waiting on you to receive everything. And when God says yes, no human gatekeeper can say no. This is the grace of divine timing. This is what it feels like to finally be in sync with what was always meant for you. What's yours has already been marked, protected, prepared, and preserved. And now, all that's left is your agreement. You may find yourself wondering, why Tuesday? Why not a Monday when everything begins fresh? Why not next weekend when you've had time to rest? Why not the new year when the world seems to agree on starting over? But chosen one, heaven does not operate according to human calendars, comfort zones, or cultural rituals. It functions through divine coordinate Choli moments, mapped long before you were born. This Tuesday carries a spiritual frequency unlike any other. It's not random. It's not reschedulable. This particular Tuesday has been appointed not by accident, but by alignment. It is unrepeatable because the configuration of your faith, your obedience, your growth, and God's timing will never intersect like this again. This day has been whispered about in the spiritual realm. This is the convergence of every yes you whispered when you were scared, every amen you spoke through tears, every step you took when the path was still unclear. You didn't plan it, but God did. That's what makes it holy. While you were surviving the days that felt pointless, while you were making small obedient choices that seemed to go unnoticed, heaven was aligning the dominoes. Prayer. Each act of surrender. Each moment you turned down what was easy for what was right. They were stacking in your favor. And now, the momentum has already begun. The spiritual dominoes are falling one after the other, opening doors, unlocking hearts, releasing provision, delivering clarity. The shift is not waiting for you to initiate it. It's already underway. Your only responsibility now is not to overanalyze it, not to second-guess yourself, not to talk yourself out of what's already been decided. Your only job is to flow with it. Don't resist it. Don't try to micromanage a miracle. Don't shrink from the weight of your own answered prayer. Just trust. Just move. Just receive. Do you realize how powerful this moment is? Beginnings are sacred because they grant you permission to leave behind what no longer serves your growth, permission to stop being loyal to what keeps you small, permission to stop mourning the doors God closed for your protection. This Tuesday is not just a date, it is a door. And once you walk through it, you're not carrying the weight of your former self. You're not chained to the pain of what didn't work. You're no longer replaying the betrayal, the loss, the abandonment. You're no longer defined by your lowest moment. This is the beauty of a divine beginning. You're not restarting from brokenness. You're rising from awareness. You're not repeating cycles anymore. You're transcending them. You're not asking for permission to step into purpose. You are the permission. You're not waiting to be noticed. You've already been seen by heaven. You're not waiting to be chosen. You are chosen. You're not hoping to be the moment. You are the moment. You are not waiting for the light. You are the light. You are not begging for access. You are becoming the access. Doors won't open just for you. They'll open because of you. You carry the key now. Uno, Peter dos, nueve declares. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light. That verse wasn't just meant for ancient believers. That was spoken over you. You've been called out of the confusion, the inner war, the misalignment, and now you're walking into the light that was always meant for you. This Tuesday is also your invitation to release fear, real fear, the kind of fear that whispers, "What if it fails again?" The kind of fear that haunts you with old memories and failed expectations. But chosen one, You do not have to be afraid of beginning again. You don't have to be afraid that what happened before will happen again. You don't have to brace yourself for disappointment anymore. Why? Because this time is not like last time, and you are not who you were last time. You've been remade in the fire. You've walked through valleys that forced your soul to grow. You've learned to breathe even when the air was thick with sorrow. You've rebuilt your spirit piece by piece, breath by breath, prayer by prayer. That's why you're ready now. Think of Bethany Hamilton, the surfer who lost her arm in a shark attack as a teenager. She could have given in to fear and pain, but she got back on the board. Her comeback wasn't about skill, it was about courage. Today, she's a symbol of resilience across the world. That's what you are too. A symbol that starting over doesn't mean starting from scratch. It means starting from strength. Or look at Robert Downey Jr., a man nearly destroyed by addiction and scandal, who chose to rise again. His return to acting, culminating in iconic roles like Iron Man, became a global redemption story. You, too, are becoming a story worth telling. Chosen one. This time, you are not building on brokenness. You are building on wisdom. The kind of wisdom that only comes from real experience. You are walking with a new level of discernment, strength, and divine sensitivity. Your wounds didn't weaken you, they opened your spirit to the truth. You've cried in silence and came out with power. You've lost things you thought you couldn't live without, and discovered your soul didn't depend on them. James 1-4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." That perseverance has done its job. Now it's time to live from the abundance that perseverance made room for. What would shift if you actually believed that your past was just preparation, not punishment? What if your delay was actually protection in disguise? What if the loss that broke your heart was the very thing that cracked it open wide enough to carry the promise? This is not about ignoring what happened, it's about transcending it. You are being called higher, not just emotionally, not just mentally, but spiritually, and the calling requires a lighter load. There is no space for fear, where faith is fully alive. And right now, your faith is not theoretical, it's personal. You've seen what happens when you trust. You've seen how God carried you when you couldn't carry yourself. You've seen miracles disguised as closed doors, healing wrapped in heartbreak, direction born from disappointment. Romans 8:18 reminds us, the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. That glory is now unfolding in your life quietly, steadily, unshakably. Look at Tyler Perry. Before he became a media mogul, he was living in his car, misunderstood, doubted, and alone. But he didn't stop. He didn't go back to what broke him. He kept showing up, even when no one clapped. And when his divine appointment arrived, it wasn't a door that opened, it was gates. The same is happening for you. Gates are opening, not because of connections, but because of consecration. Your yes has weight in heaven. Your obedience has reached God's ears. So, chosen one, stop waiting for another confirmation. This is the confirmation. This moment, this Tuesday, is not just a new day, it's a divine crossing point. A veil is being lifted, a season is being closed, and the next chapter cannot begin if you're still clinging to the language, limits, and labels of the last one. This is where you choose to rise. This is where you no longer apologize for your light. This is where you stop trying to explain your calling to those who weren't there for your crushing. This is where your healing meets your harvest, where your restoration meets your reign. You don't have to carry the weight of who you were. You're no longer defined by the moment you fell, but by the moment you rose again. You are the living proof that fire doesn't destroy the chosen, it reveals them. And now, on this precise, preordained Tuesday, the revealing is happening, quietly, powerfully, irrevocably. All you need to do is say yes. Not yes to pressure, not yes to fear, but yes to the version of you that already exists in God's imagination, whole, healed, called, and ready. This Tuesday is not merely about what will arrive at your door, it's about what is finally being released from within you. For too long, chosen one, you've been waiting for something to happen to you, not realizing that what the world truly needs has been buried inside you this whole time. This is the moment when heaven shifts your focus not to the blessings you will receive, but to the brilliance you are about to reveal. Your voice, long silenced by fear or filtered to please others, is now rising. Your light, once dimmed to avoid judgment, is now breaking through. Your purpose, once hidden beneath survival mode, is now emerging fully alive. Can you feel it? It's not coming from outside, it's awakening from within. Let this Tuesday be the day you stop tiptoeing around your own greatness. Let it be the day you take up space unapologetically. The day you no longer seek to shrink so others won't feel intimidated. The day you finally realize that your authenticity is not arrogance, it's obedience. This world doesn't need another filtered copy, another watered-down version of someone else's dream. What it needs is the original blueprint that is you. There is only one soul with your frequency, only one voice with your weight, only one purpose encoded with your story, your scars, your spiritual sensitivity. And that purpose has been waiting for you to stop hiding behind politeness and start standing in prophetic boldness. Dutimotivianas, Septini says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." That power is not coming, it's already here. Everything in your spirit has been preparing for this. The pressure, the setbacks, the delays, they weren't detours, they were development. The divine signal has now been sent. The frequency has shifted. The locks that once held you back have been broken in the spirit, and not by your effort, but by God's authority. You don't have to force any doors open anymore. The gates are already swinging wide. You don't need to manipulate anything, the way has been cleared. Not because the path is easy now, but because you have changed. You've aligned with the higher version of yourself, the version who no longer questions their worth, no longer doubts their discernment, no longer asks for permission to be powerful. Do you understand what this means? It means that your next chapter isn't on pause. It's not stuck behind a wall of waiting. It's not dependent on someone giving you a platform. The chapter is ready. The ink is dry. It's just waiting for you to show up to the page. And this Tuesday, you will. Not half-heartedly, not with one foot in and one foot out, but with a full heart, a clear mind, and unwavering faith. You will step into rooms you once felt unworthy of. You will speak what you once withheld. You will make moves that once scared you, and the world will feel the shift. No more hiding. No more waiting for another sign. No more delaying the version of you that heaven already released. No more second-guessing your instincts, your path, your identity. This is it. And deep down, you already know it. That stirring in your belly, that electric tug in your chest, that whisper you keep hearing in the quiet moments. When the distractions die down, that's not anxiety, that's activation. That's not restlessness, that's release. That's your spirit saying, "This is the moment I've been made for. Trust that voice. Trust that feeling. Follow it. And more importantly, honor it. Don't dismiss your own divine signals just because others can't understand them. You are not who you were last week. You are not the worn-out version of yourself who was just trying to hold it together. You are not the shadow of the person you used to be when you lived for approval, for validation, for security. That version of you had a role in your survival. But you're not in survival anymore. You've crossed into thriving. That means your energy is no longer reactive, it's radiant. That means your choices are no longer fear-based, they're faith-fueled. That means your life is no longer small enough to fit in the boxes others tried to confine you to. Let's take a look at real-life confirmation of this kind of transformation. Consider Maya Angelou. Once a young woman who refused to speak for years after a traumatic experience, she eventually became one of the most powerful voices in literary history. Her silence became a weapon of reflection, and her voice, when it emerged, became a roar that shook nations. She didn't just survive, she thrived. Or think of Keanu Reeves, whose personal losses are almost too heavy to recount yet. He's widely known as one of the kindest, most spiritually centered actors alive. He didn't let the darkness break him. He became a light. Or consider Malala Yousafzai, shot for simply speaking out. Yet she rose from that trauma with a fire that inspired global change. She didn't wait for permission to speak again. She walked in her divine assignment and became the answer her generation needed. Or Viola Davis, once ashamed of her background and skin, now one of the most acclaimed and celebrated actors alive because she finally stepped into the power of her full truth. And we can't forget Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 27 years of imprisonment, not with bitterness, but with vision, clarity, and the power to lead a nation. You see, chosen one. It's not about who hurt you. It's about who you became in the process of healing. It's not about who overlooked you. It's about how God preserved you while you were hidden. It's not about what broke you. It's about the light that now shines through the cracks. Philippians 1:6 declares, being confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That good work is no longer just starting, it's accelerating. This Tuesday is not simply another tick on the calendar, it is the turning of the key, the cracking open of a long-sealed door. It is the moment you embody the freedom you've been praying for, not waiting for someone to validate your purpose, but walking in it, not wondering if you're ready, but realizing you already are. Not shrinking to keep the peace, but shining to create it. You are no longer at war with your own reflection. You are finally in agreement with who you truly are. And that, right there, is the power of a new beginning. When the war between your identity and your purpose ends, when your inner world and your outer actions finally align, when you stop betraying your calling just to maintain relationships that never understood it, this is the Tuesday. You stop dimming your anointing for people who were never meant to carry the weight of it. Matthew 5:14 says, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. You are that city. You were never meant to be hidden. And as you step into this divine new beginning, chosen one, let this truth anchor you deep. Everything has already been prepared. You are not stepping into a place of uncertainty. You are stepping into the fulfillment of a plan that was set in motion before you ever knew it existed. Every resource, every relationship, every opportunity you need has already been aligned with your destiny. It will not miss you. You will not miss it. You won't mess it up. And you won't be late. Your arrival has been appointed by heaven itself. And heaven never runs behind schedule. This Tuesday is not just another start on the calendar, it is your beginning, your divine activation point. And from this moment forward, nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever be the same again. The very atmosphere around you is shifting, whether others perceive it or not. You're not waiting for transformation anymore. You are in it. You're not standing on the edge of breakthrough. You're already walking in it. The old hesitation is gone. The old limitations are crumbling. You have crossed over. This Tuesday is more than just a moment, it's a spiritual inflection point, a line drawn in eternity. It is the collision between prophecy and fulfillment, that which once felt far off and unreachable, the things God whispered in the night, the dreams that seemed too big to speak aloud, and now becoming real. What you could only sense in part is now showing up in full. What once felt like a hope too distant to hold is now taking form in your hands. What once looked like just another day is, in truth, a divine doorway, a doorway into a life that no longer mirrors your past trauma, your former limitations, or your temporary setbacks. Because what broke you before wasn't meant to end you, it was meant to build you. The breaking carved space in your spirit for something sacred, and now that space is being filled with abundance, alignment, and divine purpose like never before. This beginning does not come to you empty-handed. It arrives holding clarity, clarity you've cried for, clarity you've waited for, clarity that heaven now trusts you to handle. Things that confused you for months, maybe even years, will suddenly start making sense. Conversations you didn't understand will echo back with new revelation. The situations that used to cloud your peace will now sharpen your discernment. The fog is lifting, and in its place is a view of divine precision. You'll begin to see people with clearer eyes, not through judgment, but through wisdom. The ones you weren't sure about, their intentions will be revealed without your effort. The energy that felt off will expose itself. You don't have to investigate, argue, or defend. The truth will rise on its own, and all you'll need to do is watch it unfold. And what about those paths you feared, the ones that once looked too uncertain, too steep, too dangerous to step toward? They're about to be illuminated. You won't feel confused. You won't feel anxious. You'll just know. It will feel like peace has taken the wheel. You'll step with confidence. Not because you have all the facts, but because you are walking in faith. That's the grace of divine timing. When it is your time, nothing can block you. No person, no system, no resistance, and no scheme can stop what God has called forward. Revelation 3-7 reminds us, what he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. Heaven has stamped this new season approved, and it's irreversible. You may still be asking, why Tuesday? Why this specific day? Why not a cleaner slate like a new year? Or a Sunday morning? But chosen one. Heaven doesn't follow your planner. It doesn't operate by logic. It follows coordinates divine, spiritual coordinates mapped by God himself. There's something about this Tuesday that makes it rare, sacred, and completely unrepeatable. You didn't orchestrate it. You couldn't have, but God did. And all the little moments you thought didn't matter, every small act of obedience, every time you listened to that still small voice, every moment you said yes when it would have been easier to say no, it's all led to this precise point. The spiritual dominoes are already falling in your favor. The wind has shifted, and your only job now is to flow with it. Don't grip too tightly. Don't overthink your next step. Don't try to map it out. Just trust. Trust the current. trust the hand that aligned all of this. Trust the God who never wastes anything. Because here's what's most powerful about a beginning: it gives you divine permission to release everything that no longer serves your calling. This Tuesday gives you permission to lay down the pain of what didn't work out. You are no longer required to carry the memory of every failure. You are not obligated to keep dragging the dead weight of who you used to be. You are not beholden to your past any longer. This isn't a reset button, it's a resurrection. You're not stuck in cycles. You've risen above them. You are not asking for access, you are the access. You are not hoping to be chosen, you are chosen. You're not trying to blend in, you are the blueprint. Deuteronomy 28:13 says, "The Lord will make you the head, not the tail." If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. That word is living and breathing inside of you now. You are no longer beneath the weight of what others said about you. You are no longer beneath the version of yourself that doubted your power. You are walking in spiritual elevation. This is not theoretical. This is real. And with this beginning comes your divine release from fear. That fear of starting again, it's leaving. That anxiety that whispered, "What if it goes wrong again?" is being silenced by the louder truth. This time is different because you are different. You've been through fire and emerged as gold. You've faced disappointment and still showed up with hope. You've lost people, things, and pieces of your old self, and instead of turning bitter, you turned deeper. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You gained wisdom from the wounds. You gained power from the pain. You gained clarity in the silence. Romans 5:4 tells us, "Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." You've got that character now. You've got that hope. And now heaven says, you're ready. Think of Beth Moore, who overcame intense spiritual resistance and personal criticism to become a globally recognized teacher and leader. Or Steve Harvey, whose homelessness didn't stop the purpose inside of him from making him one of the most influential voices in media. Their stories didn't change overnight, but their alignment did. And once they shifted their posture, heaven matched their step. So too will yours. And now, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from strength. This new beginning doesn't come from a desperate place. It comes from divine power. This is the Tuesday when you stop treating your calling like a burden and start walking in it like a birthright. When you stop waiting for affirmation and start standing in your God-given authority. When you stop editing yourself for rooms that don't deserve your presence. This Tuesday, Chosen One, is not just about what's being handed to you, it's about what's finally being released through you. Have you ever considered that your greatest breakthrough wouldn't be something you received, but something you released? Your voice, your truth, your light. These are the real miracles that the world has been waiting for. So why wait any longer to become fully visible? Why hesitate to show the world who you are when heaven itself has already endorsed your presence? Let this Tuesday be the sacred turning point where you stop playing small, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you finally refuse to hide what God already called great. Let this Tuesday be the day you walk like your name carries weight. Let it be the day you silence the inner critic that told you your fire was too much. Let it be the moment you stop apologizing for being bold, brilliant, and beautifully different. Why do you keep shrinking when heaven made you to shine? Why play a role you were never cast for a copy when God wrote the script around your original identity? You see, there's a reason why you've never fit in, why you always felt like the outlier, the mystery, the anomaly. It's because you're the blueprint, not the replica. You're the first of your kind, not the last in a line of duplicates. Just like Elon Musk revolutionized the electric car when no one believed in the vision, or like Oprah Winfrey pioneered a new path for black women in media against all odds, you too are meant to birth what hasn't been seen. How long will you keep doubting the very thing that makes you extraordinary? Isaías 60. Declares, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That's not a suggestion, it's a divine command. Heaven is waiting for you to shine. Chosen one, the world doesn't need another echo. It needs the thunder of your anointing, and your spirit knows it. Every part of you is vibrating with readiness. Can you feel it? That restlessness isn't anxiety, it's alignment. That urgency isn't fear, it's divine preparation. The locks that once held you back are broken. The gates that once closed in your face are now wide open. And the only thing heaven is waiting on is you, the version of you that no longer seeks permission, no longer waters down your greatness, no longer waits to be invited to a table when you are the table. Remember the story of Viola Davis? For years, she was passed over for leading roles, told she wasn't the type, and yet, once she stepped into her truth unapologetically, she became the first black actor to win the Triple Crown of acting. She didn't change for the system, she aligned with her divine design, and the world had to take notice, just like her. Your greatness doesn't need validation, it just needs activation. Romans 8:19 tells us, for the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Did you hear that? All of creation, nature, time, people, systems, they are waiting for you. And on this Tuesday, you're not just entering a new season, you're revealing who you really are. The next chapter of your life isn't waiting on the stars to align, it's waiting on you to step forward. And this Tuesday, you will not with hesitation, but with holy boldness, not with fear, but with fierce faith. No more hiding in the shadows, no more delaying your destiny, no more editing your light to make others comfortable. The divine signal has already been sent, and your spirit has heard it. Can you feel it? That quickening in your belly, that electric pulse in your heart, that's not emotion, that's confirmation. Trust it, move with it, and most of all, honor it. Psalm 32:8 gives you a promise. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. That's what's guiding you now, not fear, not guesswork, not human opinion, but the loving, strategic gaze of God who has already gone before you. This version of you is no longer stuck in survival mode. This version of you is no longer functioning on broken patterns and borrowed confidence. You're not healing just to go back to who you were. You're evolving into who you were always meant to be. That's the difference. That's why this time is sacred. Think about Nelson Mandela, locked in a prison cell for 27 years. But when he walked out, he didn't just regain freedom, he became a symbol of reconciliation and divine justice. He didn't waste pain, he let it shape purpose. And so did you. You've wept in silence, but you've gained vision. You've been stripped of what you thought you needed, only to realize that what remained was enough. Now you don't beg for tables, you build them. You don't ask for peace. You are peace walking. You don't plead to be chosen. You remember that you always were. 1 Peter 5:10 confirms. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Your restoration isn't just a possibility, it's a promise. And as you cross the threshold into this divine new beginning, may you know with full assurance, you are not lacking anything, nothing missing, nothing broken. Every resource already released, every opportunity already aligned, every divine connection already on the way. You won't miss it. You won't sabotage it. You won't be late because you are the appointed one. This Tuesday is more than just a box on the calendar. It is your burning bush moment, the one where heaven says, "Take off your shoes. The ground you're walking on is holy now. You are no longer standing on the edge of greatness. Chosen one, you are already inside of it." Look at Tyler Perry, once homeless, rejected, laughed at. But when God said it was time, everything changed. Not overnight, but on time. He became a force no one could ignore. Just like you will. That's why you can walk boldly, because the God who authored your beginning has already secured your end. Deuteronomy 31:6 reminds you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified. For the Lord your God goes with you. You are not walking alone into this moment. Heaven is escorting you. Angels are clearing the path, and every step you take echoes through eternity. Chosen one. This Tuesday isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a spiritual inflection point so powerful that even heaven is leaning in to watch what you'll do next. Can you feel it? The air has shifted. The frequency has changed. You may have thought you were simply waking up to another ordinary day. But in the spirit realm, this Tuesday has been marked as the day your timeline splits. The version of you that once doubted, settled, and hesitated no longer has authority. That version was necessary for the wilderness, but this Tuesday ushers in the one who knows what was once foggy now stands in bold clarity. The promises you held in prayer, the visions you wrote in journals, the moments you nearly gave up but kept going. Anyway, all of it is aligning. Those prophecies that once felt out of reach, now they're putting on flesh. That distant word someone once spoke over your life, now it's echoing in your reality. Can you see how the invisible is becoming visible? How what felt like delay was really divine orchestration. This is not the end of the battle, but it is the beginning of your reign. The afflictions, the betrayals, the seasons where God was silent, they were never designed to destroy you. They were designed to break the shell so your oil could pour. What if the pain was never punishment, but preparation? What if the waiting wasn't a delay, but a divine shield keeping you from settling too soon? As Romans White, Dis White reminds us, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That glory is now ready to rise through you. This new beginning isn't about earning a spotlight. It's about embodying your original light. No more trying to fix what happened, because the wisdom you gained is already enough. The old you may have needed answers, but the awakened you've learned to trust, and trust is a higher currency than proof. Look around. This moment is sacred. The gold you carry now didn't come cheap. It was forged in fire. Do you remember those nights when your tears watered the very ground you now walk on? Do you remember how you felt forgotten, misunderstood, or invisibly yet still obeyed, still believed, still surrendered? That was the real work, the hidden work, the work no one clapped for. But now, all of heaven is standing in ovation, because the seed has broken open. Take inspiration from Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison and emerged not bitter but wise. His confinement refined him for leadership. Or Malala Yousafzai, who was nearly silenced, but came back with a louder, global voice. Or Tyler Perry, who was once homeless but held on to vision long enough to become a billionaire and a builder of his own creative kingdom. Or Sojourner Truth, born into slavery, who became one of the most powerful voices for abolition and women's rights in history. What did they all have in common? They let the fire form them, not finish them. You too, chosen one, are formed this Tuesday. Some doors will open, not because you begged, but because you are the key. You've become the access point. Do you realize the power in that? You don't need to ask for room anymore. You are the room. You don't need to seek external validation because your feet are being ordered by a higher source. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way." Your steps have not been random. They've been orchestrated, choreographed, divine. And now, as you approach, locks fall off. As you speak, the atmosphere bends. As you move, walls crumble. Why? Because the version of you that was being refined is now ready. You are not waiting to become, you are already becoming. You are not preparing anymore, you are walking in it. This Tuesday brings an awareness upgrade. It's more than a shift in routine, it's a shift in realm. Are you paying attention to the signs? That phrase, someone casually said, that pierced your soul. That number you've seen 3 times in a row. That song that played right after your prayer. That silence that felt more divine than words ever could. These are not coincidences. These are heaven's breadcrumbs, laid out to guide the awake. Proverbs 3:6 reminds you, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths." When you tune in, he tunes your surroundings to mirror what your spirit already knows. But here's the key question. Are you willing to walk like it's already done? Will you show up as the version of you that doesn't flinch when things get uncertain? Will you trust that you are not too late, too much, or not enough but right on time and completely equipped? Look at Oprah Winfrey. Her early years were filled with trauma and rejection. But what if she had decided that her pain disqualified her from purpose? She didn't, and neither will you. Your past didn't happen to you, it happened for you. Every broken moment was a setup for breakthrough. Every silent year was heaven constructing your stage. Isaías 22 declares, "I will place on his shoulder the key to the house of David. What he opens, no one can shut. And what he shuts, no one can open." You are carrying that kind of authority now. You are walking in irreversible favor, and yes, some won't recognize it. Some will still call you who you used to be. Some will mock or misunderstand your new boldness. But let them talk. Let them stay behind. Your destiny doesn't require consensus, it only requires obedience. This Tuesday is your arrival. Not at a location, but at a vibration, at a frequency where things finally make sense, where the weights fall off, where the whispers from God become undeniable, and where your internal compass stops spinning and starts pointing true north. Let this Tuesday be the sacred moment when you stop asking for what heaven has already whispered you are. Chosen one. Have you realized how long you've been praying for what's already alive within you? How many times have you begged for peace while carrying the spirit of peace? How many times have you waited to feel worthy while your very existence proves that you are? Today, let something shift deep inside you. Stop looking outward for what's been inside you all along. You were never meant to plead for favor, you were meant to embody it. Instead of asking the door to open, walk like it already has. Instead of hoping you're enough, decide you are. What if I told you your breakthrough isn't waiting out there? What if it's waiting for you to agree with what God already spoke over your life? Luke 17:21 says, "The kingdom of God is within you." Could it be that the atmosphere has already shifted and it's you who needed to catch up to your own becoming? You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are perfectly timed. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak that once made you question your path was never a punishment. It was placement. This Tuesday, all of it comes into view, not because you tried harder, but because you're finally in position to receive instead of chase. Isaiah 60:20 reminds us, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And beloved, the time is right now. Think about the people who were overlooked for years, only to rise in divine timing. Viola Davis was passed over for decades before the world finally caught up to the depth of her gift. Her rise was not about approval. It was about timing, just like her. You are not suddenly becoming. You are finally seen. You are finally aligned. Isn't it strange how the world thinks you just appeared when really God was preparing you this whole time? As you walk into this Tuesday, chosen one, understand, the atmosphere around you has already been recoded. The energy has shifted. What you feel isn't anxiety, it's activation. This isn't the season to force your new beginning. It's the moment to receive it. What if your assignment isn't to make something happen, but to allow something to happen through you? What if you were never supposed to push, only to flow? This is not the time to strive harder. This is the time to align deeper. Let your spirit rise above the noise of your own thoughts. Your mind may try to debate, to reason, to pull you back into the safety of logic. But logic had its season. Logic helped you survive. Now, it's time for your spirit to lead. Proverbs 3:5 declares, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." Could it be that this Tuesday requires less thinking and more trusting? Real life stories confirm it. Oprah Winfrey once said that when she stopped chasing what others thought she should do and aligned with what she knew she was meant to do, everything changed. She let go of the need to explain herself and stepped into the power of being herself, just like you must do now. Could the same be true for you? You will no longer have to analyze your way into opportunity. You will feel it. You will flow with it. You will recognize it not by how it looks, but by how it feels in your spirit. A peace will confirm what no spreadsheet can calculate. A knowing will override any delay. And a whisper from God will outweigh every shout of doubt. The struggle to understand why it all happened the way it did, it's losing its power over you. You don't need every answer anymore. You don't need to decode the pain of the past when the promise of the future is standing right in front of you. Can you feel it? The tight grip you had on old questions loosening, the haunting whispers of, "Why me?" quieting. Why did it take so long? Why did it happen like that? Why were you the one who had to carry so much? The answer is finally clear. Because you were being chosen. Because your process had to be different. Because your position required precision. Romans 8:28 assures you. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. This wasn't random. It was divine orchestration. Think about Tyler Perry, who lived in his car and endured over a dozen failures before his plays found an audience. The world now sees his billions, but heaven sees his endurance. That same divine fingerprint is on your life. You weren't waiting in vain. You were being shaped on purpose. The questions that once tormented you have now been replaced by the stillness that only clarity can bring. You don't need more signs that you're chosen. You need to believe the signs that are already showing up. That song playing at the right moment, that person who unknowingly confirmed what you journaled, that repeated number on the clock. These aren't coincidences. They are divine confirmations. Do you recognize them? And when your heart doubts again, remember Esther. She was hidden until the right moment. But once she stepped forward, she shifted the destiny of a nation. Her timing wasn't luck, it was alignment. Esther 4:14 says, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Don't wait to be declared ready. You already are." So here's what this Tuesday is really about. You, the healed you, the called you, the version of you that no longer waits for permission to shine. Walk like you've already been sent because you have. Live like the doors are open because they are. Speak like heaven is backing you because it is. And above all, remember this: you were never behind schedule. You were being led according to sacred timing. Trust that. Move with that. And don't ever let anyone convince you that your softness is weakness or that your silence means you have nothing to say. You are thunder wrapped in stillness. You are prophecy in motion. Chosen one. This Tuesday isn't just a calendar moment, it's the spiritual eruption of everything that's been building beneath the surface. Your divine release is not pending, it's happening. The pressure, the delay, the confusion, they've all served their purpose. They trained your ears to hear God in the silence. They shaped your steps to move with discernment. They trained your spirit to hold power without pride and carry glory without forgetting where you came from. This Tuesday, you're not chasing anything, you're receiving everything. The kingdom has been waiting for your arrival. And now it welcomes you, like royalty returning from exile. So to every chosen one who has walked this path quietly, who has cried when no one saw, who kept showing up even when the door didn't open, thank you. Thank you for your presence here. Thank you for your time, your spirit, your faith. Whether you comment, share, or simply watch in silence, your energy here matters more than you know. And if you feel led to sow into this message through a super thanks, it means the world. But please know, whether you give or not, you are already honored, appreciated, and deeply loved. This space will always be sacred with or without donation, because your heart is what keeps it alive. As you move forward, I release a blessing over you. May divine acceleration locate you in ways that human effort never could. May your sleep be filled with answers, your mornings with clarity, and your days with peace that defies logic. May you walk into rooms this week and feel the atmosphere shift in your favor. May angels go before you, and may every delay collapse before your feet. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not broken. You are right on time, right on target, and rising exactly as heaven planned. This Tuesday is yours. Take it, own it, walk in it, and don't forget, this is just the beginning.